Greetings, humans. I'm Andre, and I'm George, and welcome back to the Windmill full of horses. So today is about 3 wackos and the box. Yes, today we're here to talk about family. Not any family. The dear mother family. And the box. A very special box. So you may have seen that we've done, 4 reactions to a band called Dear Mother. From the Netherlands. Well, they're actually 2 Dutchies and the Russian spy. But anyway. They have seen those. And they were kind enough to send us stuff. And that is next level. Wow. So we're gonna open the thing. And we received this for a few days now. So we've been waiting to get to do this. And yeah, I think I broke it. Violence! Yeah, we learned from Mick Gordon. Check out our Doom reactions. Okay, the moment of truth. You want to do the honors? Yes. Make sure you get it on camera. Okay, I'll have to keep the honors open, so maybe you do them actually. So we have stickers. This one's going on the back of my laptop. Mm-hmm. I still have room. For sure. And then, what we're actually on about. The debut album. Bulletproof. And we received the same album twice because we're the same person twice. Yes. Okay, so let's open them up a little. Let's have a look at them. Okay, so artwork's awesome. Also, if you've seen the artworks to the singles, those were awesome as well. Especially the last one. The ones below. That one was wholesome. So the reason everything just got silent, and why I may have peed a little, is because you may not see it because it's kind of black on black, but these are signed. How cool is that? Okay, now I'm hyped. Okay, let me try to guess. Meryl? Yes. David? Yes. And Joey. That's what my gut says as well. And I agree with that. Maybe they can tell us if that's right, because we know they will see this video because we will harass them with it until they do. Okay, so then there we have the CD, and here we have a booklet. I'm just gonna open the booklet a little bit, because, you know, since we're gonna look at the details on that one, I won't finger that one any more than absolutely necessary. Okay, so here's a list of people. Mm-hmm. And one of them, I think they're the ones below. Crowdfunders. Mm-hmm. And then we have lyrics to each song. And then we have the prettiest, most bombastic trio in the universe. I love them. I love them a lot. And then we have more song lyrics. And then we have all the credits and thank yous. So, buy this album. Definitely do it. It's a beautiful thing. And it's a joy to hold it in my hands. Mm-hmm. So, now that we did this, that we received these, and that we're super happy about them, we want to tell you that we actually already heard this album, because it's been out for coming up on a month soon. Yeah. And there's digital streaming and stuff everywhere, so obviously we got to hear it more than once. Mm-hmm. So we're going to tell you a few things about the album. But first, there we go. So yeah, that's Bulletproof. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the album, and you can stick around and see what we have to say about it if you're interested. Or if you're not. Especially if you're not. Okay, so it's a bulletproof experience. And I think what I'd like to lead with is that this is probably the best alternative metal experience I've had since
early days Linkin Park back when I was 13.
Yes.
So,
yeah, Linkin Park was our teenage fan hysteria, like with every teenager who got into metal or alternative stuff with Linkin Park. And alternative as a genre never really got to me. Other than that, there were very few bands that I really liked. But this one, well, I don't think you can call it exclusively alternative, but it's definitely a large chunk of it.
they have some metalcore and they have some proggy hints. But apart from that, it's mostly alternative, I would say. So there's that. Yeah.
So, this album, well, they started hyping it up a long time ago. So they left Delane, and then there was this half a year, first half of 2021, where they've been releasing songs. So first there was 12 Years in Exile, then Symbiosis, then Satellite, then Invincible, and then A Soul for Hire. And then the album dropped. So that was 5 songs released before the album. And when I heard they were gonna do that, because they said they were gonna release the songs monthly up until the summer, I was like, well, hang on a second, you're gonna hit us with half the album, isn't that gonna be a spoiler? And then as the songs kept landing, I realized it wasn't, because each song was an entirely different thing. And once the whole album landed, and we can hear it, that was actually confirmed. Every song on this album is a different experience. They both have a lot of the same recurring elements, genre-wise and in riff style and hook style and stuff, but on its own, each song has a different vibe, it has a different kind of story or meaning or whatever, and it's an experience on its own. So it's a very diverse album. It's not like I'm obsessed with concept albums, for example. It's not an album that has such a clear, I would say, flow, and each song kind of merges into the next or whatever. It's definitely each song on its own. But they do make sense in the same album, in the same package, they have the same elements, so there's that. So now I think we want to look a bit at each performance individually of what these.
Yes, okay, so listening to this album, what I could notice is, okay, verse-chorus dynamics, because it's alternative. We're usually bugged about that because we're prog heads, but the songs don't need anything more than that, and knowing what they're going for is just maturity that leads them there. So, Joey first. Thanks for contacting us.
Yes!
What I like about the drums, and this actually also applies further on to the guitar, is they have the more techie, kind of some double kicks and cool strums and stuff happening on the verses, and then when the chorus kicks in, everything spaces out. Yes. So they have that really cool dynamic, and it works so well because it gives 2 sides to the songs, and it gives this sort of space to the chorus that allows it to have an impact. And they're not loading that up any more than it has to be. And that's maturity. I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
And I think they made that perfectly clear as soon as 12 Years in Exile landed. Like, that song landed like a bomb. Like, it was one of the best first single releases I ever heard. I was instantly hooked.
Yeah.
And yeah, that chorus definitely goes to show this. And I would say that Symbiosis, for example, also really goes to show this. Mm-hmm. What I really like about Joey is his kick patterns. Like, seriously. It's like the drum parts themselves are like a rock metal alternative kind of forward moving pace, but then these kick drums will just kick in that sound like gent, because it's like 0-1s. It's like, they're not always predictable, even if the surfacing like kick, snare, or general pattern is predictable, those things come in, or some transition or some cymbal play comes in that's like syncopated or a bit off the beat or stuff like that. So it's a way of, I think it's a way of making a song that makes you go like that, and that's really energetic and really groovy. Also throw some really cool surprises in there. Mm-hmm. And then there's riffs.
Okay, riffs. So, I want to say something that I also said in our Mayan reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is that in our reaction for Invincible, I said that metal uses mayonnaise guitars. She doesn't. She uses Van der Meij guitars, but the logos are kind of similar, and that was confusion. So, that piece of awkward out of the way. She gets some beefy tones out of those guitars. I love the guitar tones, and I love the riff dynamics too. There's a lot of chugga chugga wobble wobble, again, going on like on the verses and stuff, and also spacing out on the choruses, leaving beautiful harmonies. So that's what makes their dynamics work a lot. And then they also mix it up with the bridges in a lot of songs.
Yeah. What I like is, despite, like, what she does on this album is mainly riffs.
Yes.
It's almost exclusively riffs.
Yes.
But there were some moments that really caught my eye.
Mm-hmm.
Opening track, for example, Vertigo. It has a solo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not just any solo, a really shreddy solo.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really cool moment. I think also An Eye for an Eye had some lead melodies in there, and Satellite had some melodies as well. So she also takes part in the harmonies a bit. And I think while we're already on the riff stuff, we have to mention a bit about the production quality, because you can hear that on the riffs, and you can definitely hear that on the kicks, on the drums, that it's just so beefy and impactful and in your face a lot of the times, that even if the composition isn't made exclusively to like whack you over the head, it still does.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up the production, because it was definitely in my stack of thoughts as well. And as far as I can tell, they play on the same level of sound quality with the likes of Periphery and Tesseract, which are just about the best at creating an epic sound for an album as far as I can tell. So that also hits home for me as a style, not just in the sheer quality of the production. So that was pretty brilliant. I don't know who mixed the album or who did the mastering or stuff, but
I'm pretty sure it was in one of their newsletters, but I haven't been keeping track of everything. They also have a newsletter, which we strongly advise you to follow. It will probably be in the description as well, if we can do that. I don't know if we can. If we won't, we'll just link their site.
Okay. Man crush alert! Bro, so, okay. Along with Niklas Karlsson from Orbit Culture, who is completely different, I would say David is the best singer I found this year.
Yes. I'd actually argue he's better than Niklas, because while his performance is just as powerful and satisfying to me, it's also more diverse and more versatile.
And more original.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's super impressive. And, like, Devin Townsend used to be my fan crush, and now he's got some serious competition. Okay, so about the vocals, I like how they do layering. I like how they do layering of some clean and harsh. And I like just the energy and the catharsis that he can bring through, and the charisma. And we gotta see them live.
Yeah. Like, I have to see how that energy happens live, because it's so natural and organic and upfront. It hits you like very few vocalists do. He's got that power to, like, just completely hook you with a few lines. And like what you were saying about the layering, I particularly know that as soon as I heard the second verse in 12 Years in Exile, I was like, well, there's anything better than David. It's more David's.
Yeah.
So we got that going on there. And he's been doing layering a lot. I don't know. Was this the whole band's creative idea, or was it just him making all his vocal parts? But either way, it's a really cool dynamic that I actually wonder how would be transferred into live setting. Would you, like, just keep all the layers on the background and have him only do one? Because I don't know if the other guys feel like doing backing vocals.
We have to see them live, and then we'll know.
Meryl, you gotta start the girls.
Yeah. So that's David.
And more about David, he's got, like, a very wide range of emotional expressions, I would say, because you have Symbiose, and that song is like, it's not even so much of a vocal focused song, because it's just an overall banger, but there it's all fun, it's energy, it's the kind of song to mosh to, and he gets that across in his screams, in the really fast kind of almost rappy screaming, like you also have in the bridge for Invincible. So you have that kind of stuff going on, and then you'll get to something like Satellite.
Yeah.
And in Satellite,
that's exactly the one I had in mind.
Yeah. Okay, so Satellite, I think maybe the one was below a bit, and definitely also Palace. We're gonna have to talk about Palace. But Satellite particularly hit me, because unlike all the bangers and all the aggression, and he's also pretty good at being angry, in that one, he's just, like, warm and empathetic in some sense. And it's like he's warm and empathetic to someone who's lost in the cold. It feels like a song that's supposed to guide you. So that kind of really strong connection is not something I would see coming after I had heard the first two songs. I was just expecting bombs to keep dropping.
Okay, so I didn't do much lyrical analysis, but I would say a lot of the stuff on this album are about connection.
Yes.
And that's much needed given that we've all been kind of disconnected from our fellow metalheads for quite a while now. Yeah.
Yeah, like, honestly, there are some songs that I feel are just giving me a hug. Mainly the ones below, and Satellite, and Palace, and I think Heart.
Heart is like a really aggressive hug.
Yes.
Okay. So there's that. We've been talking already a lot about the songs, but there are a couple of moments I still want to point out.
Yes.
Which is that Vertigo has a blast beat,
Yes.
and Symbiose has a breakdown.
I mean, I think there are actually more breakdowns, but that's the breakdown
Yes.
of the album. Like, I'm sorry we didn't include it in our Try Not to Headbang compilations. We should have.
Yes.
And yeah, the blast beats in Vertigo, like when I first heard the album, that was the one thing I love about drums that I hadn't heard Joey do. I'm a sucker for technical death metal. I'm a sucker for a few black metal stuff. We have the Agonist over here. I'm well into blast beats. Blast beats and breakdowns are they're my favorite things you can do in metal.
They're his favorite thing to annoy me with.
Yes. You know how people say pig squeals and breakdowns? I'm blast beats and breakdowns.
Yes.
So that's me. That's the entirety of my personality and nothing else. So, that was basically the one thing I thought Dear Mother wasn't gonna hit me with when I played the album. And it was the first thing that just whacked me over my head, and it was like... Joey.
Yes. Good Joey. Okay. I want to talk a bit about A Soul for Hire. We did a reaction to A Soul for Hire, and they had a release party, and they released a couple of videos and snippets about it, and they said it's the one that landed most personally to them, so of course I give it some special attention. It's very different because it's high on, like, dubsteppy influences, and there's a little bit of that going on the ones below, and there's some of that going on in the intro to Fade In. That's got like an actual classic dubstep intro.
Yeah.
But this one's different. It's like, dubsteppy influences are kind of a party jam thing, but this song is more so bittersweet, and they said it's kind of a relationshipy song. And relationshipy. So I was looking at the video and trying to figure out what it meant, because back when it released, all that I could figure out about the video is that you push a button and the whole goddamn planet explodes.
And I think that's actually a lot of the times how some relationships go off the rails.
Yes, and
You make one wrong move!
Mm-hmm. And what you see in the video is it's them. Joey's a captain from sea. I don't remember what David's role is. And Meryl is some witch, and they're all coming together and they push a button, and when they do, there's this like angel-like figure that comes along, and then turns red and sheds its mask, and there's this demon underneath, and then the planet explodes. So I think that's kind of like how you open up to somebody and then they show their true colors and destroy your world. It could be something like that. And I think it might be all three of them because it might be a shared experience. But I won't dare assume anything beyond that because I'm not in people's heads, and well, personal experiences are personal experiences, but I wanted to touch a bit on that because that's kind of what music does to people.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
that's a really cool kind of interpretation, and it's not that far from mine, but what particularly gets me about this song is the lyrics on the chorus and even the title itself.
yes.
Because, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's some stuff about, I won't disagree with a liar.
I want to touch on those lyrics too.
And then I won't be your soul for hire. So what that looks like to me is like getting caught in trying to show someone that they're wrong when you know they are and they just won't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a mistake because A, you can't change what they think and you're going to drain yourself trying to. And B, if they're really good at it, you might end up believing them. And those are things that are really scary. And then I won't be your soul for hire. Well, what's a soul for hire? It's basically like you're hired to be in a relationship. So like that person expects that you're just like their employee in some sense. So what it feels like to me is like people who are very possessive, I think. And that tend to trap you.
This is growing way too far into psychology territory for me, but I just wanted to touch a bit on how that can be supportive. And one thing that I wanted to point out are those lyrics that said, Untold Hidden Truth by the Fire. So that kind of gave some images in my mind. By the fire could be like by a fireplace in a cozy home, or maybe by a campfire on a trip with your friends. And having Untold Hidden Truth there is like, it's like you've got this sort of intimate, cozy kind of setting, and in there somewhere something nasty's lurking, you know?
Yeah.
And it's in someone. And then there's, I won't disagree with the liar, which is that maybe you're even aware of that, but you're turning a blind eye. So I don't know. It's, I looked more into those lyrics after they said how personal it is to them, and it lands, you know, it lands with these things.
Now I gotta do a blinking contest. Play with us. No, we're not gonna do that.
Okay, we're not gonna do that. Okay. I don't think we have much else left to say.
I just wanna list some favorites. Okay, so my favorite songs on the album are definitely Vertigo, 12 Years in Exile, and Satellite. Those are my favorites.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And The Soul for Hire, I would add in there. But those are it now. And they're all kind of from this, well, they're not all from the singles because we had Vertigo, but yeah. And yeah. 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 And I would say, as a for fans of Linkin Park, early, Architects, I Prevail,
Yeah.
Periphery, Tesseract. So, that's my jam.
Yeah. Take all these bands, put them in a blender, like, not the actual band members, maybe some CDs.
Yeah.
And then you got this mushy brilliance coming out of there.
Yeah.
So, Bulletproof. Now we have the lyrics. I'm so excited to dive in all the lyrics of all the songs. I don't know if they were available anywhere. But yeah, that's Bulletproof. That's Dear Mother. It's an amazing band. Be sure to check them out. And I think we're done here.
We're done here.
So if you enjoyed this unboxing review analysis thingy thing, we'd greatly appreciate the likes and shares. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe with bells on.
Thank you very much for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed your stay, and we'd love to see you back at the Windmill very soon.
Corpses out.